Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Reignmakers Fantasy Golf Show, Wednesday edition. Going to build some lineups for the RBC Canadian Open. Going to use our site, otmnft.com, show you guys a bit of the information and data out there on Reignmakers this week. We're going to walk through on the site some crafting options. I crafted my Reignmakers Will Zalatoris into a KH Lee last night. So we'll go through crafting and how that works. I'm honestly still kind of trying to figure out crafting and if it's, how big of a gamble is crafting. Do I want to potentially look at using some of my portfolio to do some crafting to make a bet on if I can get a better golfer for a couple of cards. So we'll go through some crafting options. And yeah, I wanted to hit on, quickly the PGA and DP World Tour and LIV Golf drama. It would be remiss to not at least bring it up for a minute or two. I mean, I think my take on the PGA and the DP World Tour and the LIV Golf drama is simply that right now there's not a ton of information to actually digest and understand what the future of professional golf is going to look like exactly. Yesterday, the bombshell news was that the PGA Tour had structured a deal alongside the DP World Tour with the Saudi Public Investment Fund. And ultimately, what is going to happen is there's going to be a for-profit company alongside the PGA Tour who will remain or keep their 501c3 status of being a nonprofit entity. So there'll be a new entity in pro golf. Exactly what that new entity is going to be called, we don't know. Exactly what kind of events is going to be held for that new entity, we don't really know. LIV Golf really isn't mentioned in anything related to the deal, or at least related to the details of the deal that we were given yesterday. So I've seen a lot of different takes on Twitter over the last 24 hours ranging from LIV Golf is going away completely and the LIV golfers will be welcomed back to the PGA Tour and or the DP World Tour. I've seen recent takes as of this morning that LIV Golf is perfectly fine. We're going to get an infiltration of additional sponsor dollars, things like Nike and Titleist and Callaway potentially coming to the table. So there's tons of theories out there. All are true speculation. We really don't know. But the one thing that for me that I am taking from all the conversation in the last 24 hours is that, politics aside, the golf fan is going to get a better experience in this new deal. There will be more of the best players in the world playing events together and against each other. And at the end of the day, that really is what matters most. The majors have been and are the biggest spectacle in golf because every single player simply wants to go out and put together 72 holes and have a chance to win a golf tournament that matters. And whether you think LIV Golf has disrupted golf, because I think that there's definitely factual parts of LIV Golf and things that were exciting and interesting that brought light to PGA Tour events, or whether you like sort of traditional PGA Tour events. I think there's going to be a bit of everything in the future, but with all the golfers under one umbrella playing events together, to me just seems like a better experience for the golf fan. So the biggest winner in all of this is likely the top tier players that will receive additional dollars from the PIF, basically bringing new money to the sport in a very big way. We all know they've got sort of unlimited money and have been putting that money to good use across a variety of sports: F1, world, global soccer, or football if you're European, and now they're sort of entering golf in an even bigger way than LIV Golf was. So whether you think it was right, wrong, and different, politically charged feelings aside, I kind of just thought of this as a way that we're going to likely see the best golfers in the world play against each other. And I think that's good at the end of the day. So I'll leave most of my comments simplified and summarized into the fact that for us as a casual golf fan, as somebody that enjoys fantasy golf, there will be more options to see golfers that are the best in the world on display and put on a show in entertainment fashion, because that's really what this is all about. It is about being entertained. It is about having the most entertaining product. And now, with all of the golfers being under one umbrella, you can try things like team golf and see if it really works, or we don't have to hear about the bifurcation, the segregation of golf between LIV and the PGA Tour, and what's great about the PGA and what's great about LIV. You don't really have to take one side, as you know, the last year of golf seemingly has always forced you into feeling like you have to either like the PGA Tour and therefore then hate LIV, or you have to like LIV and therefore hate the PGA Tour. You can kind of cherry pick things in this new format, and I'm hopeful to get more details. I mean, some of the best comments that I've seen on Twitter and golf Twitter over the course of the last 48 hours has been spectacular. So many different takes, so many different avenues for expressing like or dislike with all of the things that have happened in golf in the last year. And frankly, I think that's when Twitter is at its best, when people are kind of sharing ideas, when people are arguing, but arguing in a way that makes a lot of sense. I do feel bad for PGA Tour players, especially top tier players. You know, the likes of Colin Morikawa figuring out this news on Twitter on Tuesday morning is kind of insane to think about. But in business sometimes requires, and deals sometimes require, that, you know, only the people in the room should know, need to know in order to get things done. So that to me is seemingly what happened here. A really small group of people have come together, don't have a ton of details to share, but have at least an idea on where the professional sport of golf is headed. And we'll get more information coming soon. You know, some players, you know, admittedly very upset and likely will continue to be upset until more news has come to light. I thought Maverick McNeely, from the 4 p.m. players only meeting last night, we heard a lot of things that McNeely was a player who articulated his thoughts in a very clear, concrete manner, asked the right questions, asked questions that were about the organization changes that are going to come about from this new deal. And I thought he explained himself really, really well this morning on Twitter. I guess it was on Instagram that a lot of people had reposted on Twitter, and basically said that he doesn't want to answer any other questions about this because he doesn't have enough details. He doesn't have enough information to answer. He doesn't feel like in the players meeting he got enough answers. He feels like they're and they're meaning they, the leadership group, Jay Monahan, and the new regime that is professional golf, hasn't provided enough details for them to make informed decisions about if this is good for the broader game. But he did, and Rory did this morning as well, indicate that they have faith in Jay Monahan. Whether whether you like Jay or think Jay is at this point the biggest hypocrite, the biggest snake in the world for some of the things that he said over the course of the last year, and then to sort of 180 degrees pivot and do a deal that includes the Saudis. I mean, you can say what you want about all of these things. I think it's very easy to call somebody a hypocrite. It's very easy to get online these days and share opinions. I thought Stephen A. Smith did an awesome segment this morning about how people put sports and athletes on pedestals and require different require them and hold them to different standards than we do, you know, traditional businesses in America that have done deals and will continue to do business with the Saudis day in and day out. I thought that segment was great. If you haven't seen it, head on over to Stephen A's Twitter, take a listen. It was 4 minutes of fantastic television. He named Congress people, he named American companies that do deals and do business with the Saudis on an everyday basis. Yes, as an individual golfer, there's probably more of a choice. So there was more of a choice when LIV Golf was around. Now it's a little bit different. I thought Kyle Porter articulated that pretty well this morning. He said, you know, when you were making the decision, LIV Golf or the PGA, you were kind of making the decision of, you know, stay with history, legacy, or go to a new and louder form of golf. But yes, it is funded by the Saudi PIF, and that, you know, say what you want about those dollars. What they've done in terms of horrific acts are well documented. So that is out there, and knowing you're taking money from that regime is, something that was a choice. Now, if Jay Monahan strikes this deal, the choice for PGA Tour golfers is, and play in a very lucrative environment where more money is going to be into the game, and you're going to have a chance to create more wealth for not only yourself but your family and your foundations. A lot of these guys do charity work and things like that. HV3, Harold Varner III, as someone who went to LIV, said, I can do a lot with the money that I'm getting from LIV. And I thought, and everyone sort of respects the fact that he said these things and been as open and transparent with his decision-making process. Now, the decision, if Jay Monahan strikes this deal, the decision is basically you play professional golf on the PGA Tour, and, alongside the money that the PIF is going to put into the PGA Tour, or you retire. And I don't think anybody wants to see the likes of Rory retire. Hell, we don't want to see Tiger retire, and Rory has plenty more good years ahead of him than Tiger does. But at the end of the day, you can always argue about where the money comes and make political stances. And I understand all of that, but I do think that these guys play golf and will continue to play golf and are responsible for an entertainment product that people want to enjoy. There's deeper conversations than that, but to me, simplified a version of this is golf will be better in the long term for the consumer, for the average casual fan, for people that like Reignmakers, like myself, like yourself. And there'll be more opportunities to see the best of the best in the world play against each other on more weeks than just the 4 majors, which will continue to happen. And the majors will likely continue to be the star of the show here. They'll likely be the biggest winners in all of this, but plenty more to go through, plenty more to understand, plenty more details to come out. But in the last 12 months, professional golf has had the biggest up and down roller coaster and the most drama that I can recall from any professional sport. So, I think drama sells, typically brings more eyeballs to the game. We saw Netflix getting into the mix yesterday when this bombshell was dropped. They said, you better believe that we are definitely filming. So if you haven't seen the Netflix Full Swing documentary, first of all, go check that out. Season 1 was pretty awesome, and season 2 is looking to be even spicier than season 1 was, with all of this drama that will come about. One thing we haven't heard from a ton is from LIV golfers, other than Phil Mickelson sort of victory lapping, saying that he had some information potentially that was going to lead to conversation like this. We haven't really seen or heard much from LIV golfers. I imagine they're feeling pretty good right now, but there's a lot of details to figure out. Is LIV going to be a thing going forward? Are these guys coming back to the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour? Lots of interesting things to sort out. But yeah, I thought would be important to start off the show with a little bit of my thoughts, takes, and just level setting before we jump into your regularly scheduled programming, which is building lineups for this week's event. We've had 10 plus withdrawals at this point. No massive names. Once this news dropped yesterday, there was a lot of commentary about Rory potentially withdrawing and about other big names potentially withdrawing. We haven't seen any of that. Rory did his media this morning. No indication that he's going to withdraw. Said he, right as I think it was middle of the interview, he said, right after this, I'm going to do this, which I wasn't looking forward to, but I'm going to quickly get on the range and try to defend what is 2 victories in a row at the Canadian Open, going for a three-peat. And the likes of Tyrrell Hatton, Tommy Fleetwood, Shane Lowry, all of those guys still in the field, going to be chasing Rory on the odds board. And we're going to look at building some lineups for making the best DraftKings Reignmakers lineups that we can make for this week. There's still money up for grabs. There's still contests to be won. And there will certainly be more golf news over the course of the next couple of weeks. Hell, the US Open is next week, and it is going to be all eyes on Los Angeles Country Club, which should be a fantastic venue. Excited for the US Open next week. The second best golf tournament, in my opinion, on the PGA Tour schedule, or on just, in general, the golf schedule after Augusta. So excited for all those things. All right. let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. You're going to take a look at our site, otmnft.com, and everything we have to look at for Reignmakers this week. And then we'll jump over into DraftKings, and we'll jump over into some of the crafting details, the contest information, etc., etc. So I'm taking a look at Players tab first. This just shows me odds, how odds are moving, and then what prices look like across the board from a low ask standpoint. Rory at the top of the board, plus 550. His price is staying pretty straightforward here in the rare and the elite tiers. I think it's elite has come down a little bit. He was 445, I believe, last time I checked. But I believe this rare price has been pretty solid, $99. Low ask. It's been right around $100 all week. So haven't seen too much uptick there. But if you've got Rory this week, you're loving your spot. By far the smallest odds. I'd be jamming him into the captain spot and then making all of my other decisions around how do I make the best lineup with Rory at captain this week. Oakdale Country Club, it is a new course, so a never before seen course for every player in the field. Rory played actually his first 9 holes at Oakdale yesterday in a practice round. So no guys have really played this event, which I think is interesting in terms of how we think about golf variants, things like putting. When you haven't seen courses and you have no history, and you're really kind of seeing things for the first time, and everyone's on that level playing field, it brings things like putting variants into play a bit more. So I think that's an interesting thing to think through this week. You guys heard TJ on the Monday show talk about Shane Lowry. Actually was planning to write up Shane Lowry. I really think Lowry's in a good spot. His game is coming around. He's been playing well over the course of the last couple of weeks, and I think his pricing is really nice. Seems to be finding this dip in Reignmakers. So 145 for an elite, as you can see, for guys around him. Definitely the cheapest option. $28 for a rare that you could play in a rare contest as a captain, or play him up into an elite contest. And that's been the biggest thing for me, is trying to figure out how am I building the best elite team that I can, and also kind of figuring out what do I want to do with the rare cards. For me, this week, and we'll get into my lineup builder here shortly, but I was only able to really build one solid elite team. Therefore, my other rare teams are going to be stacked up pretty well, which I definitely like. So I think it's a week where you're probably tossing a lot of lineups into the guaranteed contests. Let's take a look at DraftKings contests this week in the lobby. One, it's a smaller prize pool, so a lot more prizing from a prize pool standpoint is in the guaranteed contest. I think DraftKings has done a good job at making those contests appropriately sized so that you're still getting a solid sweat out of your money. And if you min cash, if you have a good team, you min cash, you're getting dollars back on your investment. So I do like some of the smoothing out of the prize pools that DraftKings has done. But let's take a look at this 35K 35K rare guaranteed contest. If I look at all the other contests, you're looking at, a lot of money up top in this single entry. So 7.5K, 1.5K to first. So tons of the prize pool up at first, only 60 places paid out versus, let's see where this pays out to. Payout structure. Yeah, it pays out $20 all the way down to 1,132nd place. There'll be more entries, of course, and you'll still need a very, very strong lineup to win. But this should be a tournament that I think you're targeting with a lot more of your entries this week than any other week, because of golf variants and there being this sort of thinner group at the top where several of those guys could certainly still miss the cut. I look at a guy like Matt Fitzpatrick, we're not sure exactly where Matty's game is, could certainly miss the cut. Cam Young, I kind of feel the same about, although I do like Cam Young a good bit this week in this field, a great bounce back or get right spot, but his game certainly hasn't been great over the course of the last month or so. Ever since the match play, he's had a bit of a downtick in his game. So, I could certainly see him, missing the cut here as a possibility. And then when you get past these guys, I think there's just a lot of variance to be had here. Eric Cole is short as plus 5,000 odds. Eric Cole's been great, but could he miss the cut, or would I be surprised if he missed the cut? Definitely not. Maverick McNeely, Adam Svensson. This tier in the middle here to me is all pretty top heavy in this plus 2,000 to plus 4,000, even, above plus 5,000 range. I think that's all, guys that could win the tournament. But also, if they miss the cut, I wouldn't be too shocked. I do kind of like Matt Kuchar in this field. It seems like when he's in a field where he's one of the more experienced guys, I feel more comfortable with Kuchar's game. He certainly doesn't have the upside of guys like Sahith or Lowry, but I like the stability that he provides. And I feel like he's a guy that kind of just knows how to get his ball around the course, will, do what he needs to do to make the cut. And I like Matt to play pretty well this week. So I tend to like Kuchar in fields like this a bit more than I typically like him. So it's definitely interesting this week. Market data. So you can see this is just a quick overview here, but you can see all the information on, and I typically like to do this by tier. I'm mostly focused on rare and elite these days in terms of trying to get information out of what's happening. So this is sorted by 24-hour volume just to get an idea of liquidity. I think the biggest thing here, there is a Discord gated contest this week. If you were in it, you can still get in it actually. Head on over to the DraftKings Marketplace Discord. In their general announcements channel, there's a Dino bot. You can sign up. Just need your DraftKings email and DraftKings username to get in. Usually these Discord contests are pretty plus EV. Let's see if it's out here yet. They haven't dropped the tickets yet. They said, I think 3:00 or a little after 3. So you need this ticket for entry. If you go fill out that Dinobot, you'll get the ticket. And this will be limited to Group 3 and Group 4 golfers. So a lot of cash to first, 15K prize pool, 5,000 of that 15K to first. But otherwise, it's pretty solid. It's gonna feel a bit more like a single entry contest. We'll see how many people are in it. But I believe last time we ran it, it was like less than 1,000 or 1,000 or so people. You also need the Group 3 and Group 4 golfers to put together in your lineups. So that is something that is going to be interesting because Group 3 and Group 4 golfers, typically not your best golfers. How do you put those guys together? I feel like people in this contest will probably put together lineups and you can do Group 3 and Group 4 here. We'll put together lineups that have basically just the best the best 5 odds. So let's do odds. So Group 3 and Group 4. Actually, let's do this on players view. It's going to be a little easier. Group 3, Group 4. It's sorted by odds. So you're looking at some kind of lineup combination: Eric Cole, Michael Kim, Adam Svensson, Nick Taylor, Lee Hodges. I think you can easily put together that kind of team, especially given that it's a core requirement contest. So, you could put together this team for less than $10. So I do think you want to get different than that for this Discord contest, but how different is, endless options here in this Group 3 and Group 4. I love Aaron Rye. As you guys know, I think Garrick Higo is someone who has a ton of upside. Could see him being a captain in the winning team, just given the upside that he has. Nick Taylor's played great. Lee Hodges has played great as of recently. I've said this on the Monday show. I think I'm a little bit stumped by Adam Svensson. I have him a good bit in my portfolio, and maybe I'm biased, but I really like him. He's a Canadian. So I tend to really like him this week. I'm not sure the numbers back up how much I like Svensson this week, but it is golf. I'll embrace some variance. So we'll see if we can get Svensson right this week, but you could use him in the Group 3 and Group 4 contests as you please. So I think that is interesting to think about what lineups and what combination of lineups are going to be there for that tournament. All right, let's jump. You can see your collection. I like to just give an overview of the tools if anybody's new out there, but this shows you every single card that you own for DraftKings Reignmakers. It will give you the low ask, what their price movement is. And this is actually a good thing where I've been I've been thinking about, should I be moving pieces? Eric Barnes is up 40%. He's not playing this week, but maybe people were buying Eric Barnes to get into, some other Discord contest or something like that. I haven't really seen, why. Not exactly sure why his price is up. But that's a question or a flag to me in my brain to say, should I be trying to sell or list this asset? He's up almost 40% for $25. I'm not sure what I'll do with that information. This is always kind of changing, but right after this show, I may go put him out there just to see if we get anybody that's interested in buying an Eric Barnes Elite card for $25. That way I can think about reinvesting into the rare tier, because I do think that has been what I've been focused on doing, is taking some of those elites where I'm not getting a ton of, dollars for them, but thinking about how do I use one or two of those cards and getting a solid rare, and knowing that I can just play that rare card up in an elite lineup. Sure, I can't captain them, but it bolsters the elite lineups that I've been putting together. That's seemingly helping my success. The last 2 weeks, I have been able to cash in the Elite Guaranteed contest, which is helping to claw back some of the investment that I made in Reignmakers. Still looking for that big score, like some of those Jolly Jokers out there have had, but excited about the progress and the ability to create lineups with upside in that Elite Gated contest. All right, let's hit into the lineup builder. By far, my favorite tool on the site, shows you every card plus their odds if they're playing. One thing to note here, I had a couple questions yesterday. Everything's blanked out because I have them in lineups and we'll go through them. But if guys don't have odds, typically means that they have withdrawn and we just haven't had updated odds just yet. So if you see guys that have, information or scoring averages, but they don't have odds, it typically means they've likely withdrawn. So last night, I think it was, Charlie Hoffman had withdrawn and he was still kind of showing here. I had a question why that was the case, but that is the reason why, is we no longer show odds, but he still shows up as fantasy scoring here. So definitely take a look at who's withdrawn. DraftKings actually does a pretty good job of showing you who's out when you're building lineups. So double check that as you put your lineups in. If you're using the bulk entry tool where you can get a CSV, you can still go double check your lineups. They'll have an out tag on the golfer, a red out tag to show that they're out. All right, so let's go through my lineups. So my elite team this week, I had unfortunately had Joseph Bramlett withdraw. So he was someone that I really liked this week. Long driver, of course, not the best putter, but on a course, like I said, that no one's ever played before, I was willing to embrace the variance of putting and just seeing if Bramlett could get on track. Also, this course has more par fours. There's only what is there? 1, 2, 3. There's only one par five, I believe, is it? Let me see here. What do we got? Let's go PGA Tour. There's more par fours. What did I want to see here? Course. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 par fours on the front. So only 1 par 5, 1 par 3 on the front. And then in the back, I believe it's similar. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 5. So 5. So the back is more normal. But the front has an extra par 4. So par 4 scoring more important this week, knowing that there's an extra par 4 out there. So I think you're going to see a lot of guys, longer hitters, Rory especially, that have a lot of short wedges into these par 4s, where you hit it 300 and you're looking at, anywhere from 100 to 125 yards or even inside 100 in many cases. So you're gonna need wedge play, but the driver, if you can hit it a long way, can come into play in a big way. So I did like Bramlett. Unfortunately, he withdrew. So now I have a decision to make here. Svensson, Hodges, Wise, and Kevin Roy as the 4 golfers that I have in Elite. I opted to keep Kevin Roy out. I ended up playing him. Where did I play him? Played him as captain in a rare team that's just kind of like a throw together a rare team. But yeah, opting for Lee Hodges as captain right now. played really well over the course of the last 2 weeks. I like his, recent form a bit better than Svensson, but I may still switch Svensson to captain there. That's kind of my last decision here. And then Aaron Wise just happens to fill out this roster. Like Aaron Wise's pedigree, hopefully he gets back to playing better golf as he's still kind of coming back and rounding into form. And then two guys that I really like, and this is what I mean by playing your rares up. So Cam Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, both at plus 1,400 odds, cheaper rares that you can play up into that elite contest. So that's kind of the elite team that I'm playing this week. And then knowing that I'm playing, this is definitely not the biggest upside of an elite team. This is definitely trying to catch the positive side of golf variance here with these three golfers, specifically Hodges, Svensson, and Wise. If you don't have Rory, if you don't have somebody like Hatton, Lowry, who else at the top here? Burns, Cam Young, and captain, you're definitely kind of embracing variance for sure in a contest like this. So I'm embracing variance at the elite level. And then this allows me to just make some stronger rare teams. I'm also playing up all of my core cards. So basically I'm taking all of my best rares and focusing on putting together the best elite team that I can, and then taking all of my best cores and focusing on putting the best core that I can into the rare teams. So I got a rare team here of Corey Connors, Keith Mitchell, Adam Hadwin, Adam Svensson, and then playing up a Tyrrell Hatton into this team. And there's another rare team that I have where I'm playing up Tommy Fleetwood. Mackenzie Hughes, Alex Smalley, Dylan Wu, Lanto Griffin, and playing up Tommy Fleetwood. So I'm doing that. I'm taking the chance to play up all these solid core cards that I have. But I still ended up this week being able to build a pretty strong core team. So Cam Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, Corey Connors, Tommy Fleetwood, Matt Kuchar as a team that I like for core a good bit. And then, like I said, I built a Discord team. Where's my Discord team at? Group 3, Group 4 Discord contest. Mark Hubbard, Nick Taylor, Carson Young, David Lipsky, Aaron Rye. Just some of my favorite golfers in this tier. Mark Hubbard playing really well. Carson Young, tons and tons of upside. Nick Taylor could go on and win the golf tournament. Someone in that mid tier that has elite winning upside, I think, for someone in the plus 6,000 range. And then Rye and Lipsky. You guys know I like Rye, have been on him for a while. And Lipsky played really well last week and has continued to play well over the course of this PGA Tour season. His improvement in his iron play has been solid. So I like Lipsky a good bit. All right, let's get into some of your questions this week. I don't think I have anything else to cover in terms of my team. You can take a look at the schedule really quick here. As you can see, this is premium prize pool. Next week, we have the U.S. Open and then Travelers Championship, back-to-back deluxes. So we got 2 solid weeks, which should mean we obviously know the U.S. Open field will be quite strong. The Travelers Championship field, I expect to be pretty strong as well. It will be interesting to see who ends up at the Travelers because Rory would then have played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row, which is a lot of golf for the high-end golfers to be playing 5 weeks in a row. So we'll be interesting to see what the Travelers Championship field looks like for 2 weeks from now. But yeah, U.S. Open geared up and excited for that. All right, what questions did we have? I think I had a couple here. Stogie, as always, appreciate you. With this being a relatively weaker field, assuming I'm chasing bigger payouts of the elite over rare contests, should I throw all my rares into my elite lineups, even if they become lopsided? Really high odds captain elite with decent odds rares, or would you make a more thoughtful lineup decision and make good rare lineups? I think I am in favor of playing. So I think we got to use contest info for this question just to kind of back up my thought process. So still almost, this will push to 3K. I would imagine somewhere around 3K. And this contest is paying out 1,100 with, 2K cash to first. So you still need a pretty strong rare team, obviously, to beat 3,000 lineups. It's going to be hard. You still need a really strong elite team to beat 1,000 teams, or what will be a little more than 1,000 teams by the time this thing kicks off. But the payout here is just so much bigger, right? 1,000 to seventh, even getting down to 31 people getting $500. Yeah, only 392 getting paid out. So probably in that 30% range, which I imagine that this rare might be a little more than that 30% range because it was, what was it? 1132. And there's not quite 3 entries in there yet. $20 at the bottom versus, was there 75 for elite or 100 for elite? 75 for elite. I think it's a good question. I think I'm always just playing for the mega upside. I know you are as well. So I would be jamming rares into the elite contest. I enjoy the sweat of one contest and focusing really on one contest. I'm pretty bad at trying to sweat all of my rares and then all of my elites and then all of my cores all at the same time. So I kind of like mostly ignore everything on Thursday and Friday except for one or two teams. And then as Saturday comes and the cut is there, then you can sort of narrow things down and get your focus together for how you're trying to enjoy the cut sweats and the overall sweat that the game provides. To me, the sweat is a big part of why I play. It's fun. It's better to watch the golf that way. So I try to prioritize my sweat when I can with some of this stuff. So I think I'd go putting your best rares into your elite teams, even though you're diluting your rare entries. So that's just my take there. A couple other questions we had. Is Lowry, Fleetwood, Connors, Fitz, Rory too chalky? I think we'll just, he didn't, this person didn't indicate tier. So I think tier does matter. Is Lowry, let's see where, Lowry, Connors, Fitz, Rory. Oh, Fleetwood too. Lowry, Fleetwood, Connors, Fitz, Rory. No, I don't think it's too chalky. You got Sam Burns in there. You got Cam Young in there. No, I don't think it's too chalky. I think it's a perfectly fine team. In core, I expect that it will be duped. In rare and elite, I don't think it will be duped. It's definitely possible, as always, but take a look at your serials, see where your serials are out there. I don't think you need to go different than that, though. I think that is perfectly different, and you're betting on Burns, Young, Hatton to eat up some of your ownership, and then even guys underneath Connors like Sahith, Keith Mitchell, Kuchar, Hadwin. I think they'll garner some ownership here as well. So I don't think it's too chalky. I think it depends on core, rare, or elites. But in rare and elite, I'm definitely fine jamming that as your best team. And core, maybe there's a reason to break it up, but I'm not even that confident that that's the case. So I would take a look at serial numbers there because that definitely matters. Also probably matters who you captain there. I assume if you have Rory, you're captaining Rory. So if anything, you could go with like non-captaining Rory. Might be fancy play syndrome, but if you really don't want to go lower than Connors, lower than plus 2,200, you can just opt to captain someone like Fitz, or you could captain any of those guys, in my opinion. Someone like Lowry, having Rory and Lowry coming down the stretch is in the top 5 or something like that, with Lowry winning the golf tournament, could certainly happen. So I definitely think that's perfectly fine. You could make a pivot on captain and be okay, in my opinion there. Yeah, Giant Hammer says, I'm sprinkling Canadians in most all my lineups. Fenson, Adwin, Taylor, Connors, and Pendrith are great side flyers. Yeah, I love a Canadian, love the narrative street of a Canadian winning the Canadian Open. So get them in your lineups. I think they'll be pretty popular, to be honest. If you're not just playing whoever you have in your portfolio, I'm sure you're probably prioritizing or thinking about, or at least have heard the fact, you're hearing it right now if you're listening to this show, that you want to get some Canadians in your lineup. So now you're hearing it. So they'll probably be a little higher owned than they typically would be, is what I would guess. What else is out there? Okay, a couple people asking about crafting. I saw some good crafting wins. Someone crafted an elite John Rahm, which is always nice. Saw a Siwoo and a Cantlay get hit, which is nice. All right, so I still am kind of trying to figure out crafting. So I believe, where do we go here? Home. And then trade in cards. So as crafting kind of works, you need crafting tokens. If you hold either of the greens passes, you got airdropped some tokens. So I think I used one of my tokens. I'm not even sure which one that I would have used, but let's go PGA Tour. I crafted, you can craft golfers who have not played. So I crafted a Willie Z. Unfortunately for Willie Z owners, I don't think we'll see Willie Z this season. So inactive golfers could be crafted. So you get, for Willie Z, because he was a Group 1 golfer, you got in exchange a Group 1 or Group 2 golfer. I know there was controversy over, I believe it was Jonathan Vegas, but I believe that DraftKings fixed that. Now I think Willie Z is the only way you can get a Group 1 and a Group 2 golfer, which I saw some sharp people saying, I keep buying Will Zalatoris just to craft them. So maybe that was at the core level. I did see his price was up. But then I crafted him into a Cage Lee. So a little bit unfortunate. I already have some Cage Lee. I was just looking to get a different piece than I already had. So we'll have to look to move that Cage Lee in the marketplace and see what we can get for him. But essentially, you can get these rare packs. So what you would do is you come in here, do you need to be in? I'm in PA, as most of you know, so typically do a quick drive over to West Virginia to get my Reignmakers lineup submitted, but I don't think you need to be not in a different state. I think you can be anywhere for crafting, or most anywhere at least. So yeah, you put your crafting token in, and then as I understand it, you essentially can craft any two cards. So I have 43 eligible, and then that gives you one new card from the crafting. I don't exactly know how the what golfer you can get in this. I believe it was kind of anybody. And so for me, I'm kind of shying away from that right now. I haven't really done portfolio analysis to say, if I want to craft anybody, or if I want to craft some lower end guys, what that looks like. But I know people in our Discord have been doing it. And I think, because we were airdrop these tokens, you have some free options, at least like to use your own portfolio. You can also buy the crafting tokens. I believe they're still available. Let's see. Whoops. Okay. Looks like you can go craft tokens. I don't know if these were unlimited supply or not. Yeah, it looks like they're out there, definitely out there on the secondary. So, $2.20 for a core, $10.94 for a rare, $47 for an elite, $95 for legendary, $600 for Rainmaker. So, if you're playing Rainmaker tier, you probably can just go buy what you want. That's a heck of an expensive price to have to trade golfers in. So, but yeah, I think crafting is definitely good. I haven't dug into it all that much just yet. Like I said, need to organize my portfolio to determine if I'm going to make some of these decisions. But I definitely like the idea that at Rainmakers now you have the ability, at least, to, if you have too many, I know some people had a legendary card, they wanted to craft a legendary card, or use that in some way, shape, or form to get more utility from their cards. So definitely more options now in terms of being able to do that. So more insights and info on crafting, but just wanted to make sure you guys knew that it was out there and it was available. And I think if you've got these inactive golfers, definitely go craft those guys. You're getting instant, for me at least. I haven't been able to use Will Zalatoris. I certainly wouldn't want to sell him. I'd rather just craft him, especially into a Group 1 or Group 2 golfer. Hell, who knows? You go pull a John Rahm or Scotty Scheffler, and you're sort of set at that tier. So definitely take a look at crafting and what that does for your portfolio. Shout out Zake says Rory will get paid justice for Rory. Yeah, I think we'll see what happens. Rory, I think, is, if there's any guy who I really believe plays for legacy, doesn't really worry too much about money, it's Rory. I mean, Rory has more money than just about everybody, except for Tiger. So I don't think he's too worried about money, but definitely think that there'll be some money coming his way. Oh, Josh Allen's, this is a good tip here. He says tokens still available in primary drop. So let's go here. But is the pricing any different is the question. Okay, yeah. So drop is still available. $2, $9.99, $49. So it looks like you might be able to get a little deal from secondary, but definitely don't go overbuying on secondary. 99 for legendary, $4.99 for Reignmakers. Thank you for that, Josh Allen. All right, what else do we have? Good news, Poker Pro Eric, always the live stand that he is. Good news, live tour packs. Yeah, live golfers coming back. I'm sure that'll be a process to see how they fit into Reignmakers next year, but will be interesting to see. That is for certain. Shout out to the rest of you guys. Just saying, JM, Stogie, Josh Allen, 90s fan. Shout out to all you guys hanging out in the chat. All right, did I miss any questions? Comments or thoughts? I want to highlight the article as always. I did write up a little bit about the drama that is the live tour and this new deal struck by the PGA. Head on over to our site to read those thoughts. As always, I give you some stats to follow. This week I highlighted some stats because the course is new, so I didn't want to take his. I'm a pretty big course history guy, and I feel like that might be a little bit of a leak in my game where I let history dictate who I like a little bit too much and not let statistics dictate. So this week, because there is no history at this course, a little bit easier for me to just fade it and go into stats. Looked at strokes gained, looked at birdies are better, 2 scoring stats actually, and bogey avoidance. And then I also looked at par 4 scoring. As I said, there's an extra par 4 on this course. So I wrote up 3 guys, as always: Shane Lowry, Mark Hubbard, and Carson Young as my long shot. So I'll write up 3 guys every week. I just use the odds ranges to dictate the buckets of guys that I'm looking at. So I write them up based on best odds plus 2,000 or better, mid range in that 2,000 to 9,000 range, and then long shots 10,000 or better. So I think that'll do it for everything that I had for the show today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I do want to get this show in a bit more interactive way, whether it be with chat or bringing a few guests on. So I'm looking to do that in the next couple of weeks. Maybe next week will be our inaugural week where we'll bring on a guest for the US Open, see if anybody in the community wants to come on, chat a little bit of golf, build some US Open lineups. If any of you guys are interested in doing that, definitely hit me up in the Discord. Otherwise, I'm going to try to grab somebody over there in the DraftKings Marketplace Discord. Shout out Jason Roslin, does a ton of great content, ton of good Reignmaker stuff, has had a lot of great Reignmaker scores, does work for Lucky Trader. So shout out Jason, shout out Jesse and some of the other guys over there putting picks out. Shout out Tom Z in the Discord over in DraftKings. So a ton of good information and insights. We'll see if we can get somebody else on this show, get their thoughts, get some of their lineup information, and see how they build their teams, and just pick their brain on all things DraftKings Reignmakers. But yeah, US Open next week, Canadian Open this week. Should be a fun golf tournament. The kind of tournament where I'm just putting my portfolio to work. I didn't make any buys or any sales this week. So just putting my portfolio to work, just trying to continue to recoup some of the investment, just looking to get a good sweat for the fun of playing Reignmakers. So best of luck to you all out there. Of course, I will see you in the Discord. I look forward to seeing you on the leaderboards somewhere near the top, hopefully. And as always, TJ and I will talk to you all on Monday. So until then, best of luck this weekend. See you on the leaderboards and talk to you all on Monday. See you later.